We've talked in today's show and extensively now about the troubles that Kevin McCarthy is having to his speakership in the House if Republicans take over in the majority. But on the Senate side, the minority leader, right, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate as of now, is also facing similar troubles and may be challenged. Actually, at this point, is being challenged by Rick Scott for that minority leader position, which is interesting because Mitch McConnell is a heavy hitter in the Republican Party, so to go against him is a pretty big move. Take a look at this being announced.
Florida Senator Rick Scott has decided to challenge Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. It's really more of a protest that he's doing. That's still a long shot that Scott would beat McConnell, but it is the first real challenger that he's ever had as GOP leader. And it really underscores that as we stand here today, a week after these elections, that Republicans, both on the House and the Senate, are simply not where they thought they would be. They thought they would be in much different positions. There's a lot of blame to go around, and there is a lot of back and forth over what the way forward should be. So it remains to be seen if they will decide to delay those elections tomorrow for the Senate, or if they will keep that on task and go forward with it on.
So what's interesting about this is the Republicans did so poorly in the midterms, but then the leaders who were in charge during that occurrence just want to be put back into their positions, which is a little bit silly. So I understand why there's some turmoil in the GOP. Why would we put, Kevin McCarthy as the majority leader when he was the minority leader when we lost? Why would we put Mitch McConnell, who was the leader of our party, back as the leader of our party in the Senate when we didn't do well in our senatorial races? You get that, but then you also understand how much power, particularly in fundraising, and thus in the way they are able to interact with other senators, that these types of individuals have. Specifically Mitch McConnell, he's a fundraising juggernaut and puts that money towards some pretty bad individuals, but you have to give credit, I guess, where it's due for the fundraising skill, and that gives them a lot of power within the GOP. So Mitch McConnell is a vile, politician, has prevented so much progress in this country, but so is anyone else who would take over. Rick Scott as well, of course, the same guy who floated the idea of or supported a plan to sunset every federal program after 5 years, which would put Medicare and Social Security in jeopardy every single 5 years, which is absolutely a horrible proposal, especially understanding the lack of, how would you say, trustworthiness, I guess, Congress has. I don't want to have to rely on them every 5 years to re-up programs that are so crucial to people's day-to-day lives. I would rather have them as they are now, where they continue year after year. So here's Rick Scott, though, before he formally announced his speakership campaign. Sorry, not speakership. His campaign to be the minority leader of the Republicans in the Senate, getting asked, and I just want to show this because he is not going to be a successful leader in the Republican Party, I guess, any more than he is now with these types of responses.
Are you yourself backing Mitch McConnell? I don't recall.
Well, I think we ought to have to figure out, like you, Larry, I think what we have to do is say, what do we do going forward? And that's what I want to do. I want to focus on how do we go forward.
He's such an awkward dude. Listen, I just, at the end of the day, Larry, let's just go forward. That's all I'm looking for. And finally, Mitch McConnell got asked in this report. You'll see it's a little bit into it. And there was a press conference going on, and the senators around Mitch McConnell got asked, as he's standing there, will you support Mitch McConnell for the leader of your party? It was an awkward moment that played out.
McConnell to postpone Senate GOP leadership elections.
Leadership elections right now are scheduled for tomorrow morning. Personally, I think it is insane. It would be nuts for us to have leadership elections now and simply re-elect the exact same leadership. For one thing, we don't even know who will be in the Republican conference. We still don't know who's going to win in Georgia.
McConnell and freshman GOP senators were mum when I asked about a possible challenge tomorrow.
Do you all support Leader McConnell as leader, to return as leader?
All right, so it's time to go. Thank you.
Mr. Bud? Mr. Collins? No comments?
GOP Florida Senator.
So it gets, gosh, that smile is so freaky. So they get asked, will you support Mitch McConnell as the leader of Republicans in the minority in the Senate? And immediately, I guess, staff members or something go, okay, that's it, we're done. And Mitch McConnell goes, you don't have to answer that. Just showing that there's turmoil. Because Mitch McConnell has a history of getting his members in line behind him. And so that maybe falling apart a little bit is an interesting dynamic playing out now that the midterms went so poorly for the Republican Party, specifically in the Senate. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.